Hello and welcome back to the channel. I took a Hammershot and did some modifications to it to make it a little easier to load and fire half-length darts. So let's go ahead and jump into the video and check that out. So I didn't film any of the build and mod process on the Hammershot, which is the subject of today's video, because it kind of took place over several months and my wife broke her leg in the midst of all that. So it was kind of hard to film, but I did do videos on this one and also on the Hammerstorm, and these two blasters have very similar internals. The reason why I did what I did this blaster is half darts, and my personal problem with them is just loading them. It's not hard to just drop a dart in there, but you need it to go all the way to the end to get a seal, and my finger is just too big to fit in there. So I either have to use a dart to kind of ramrod it home so that I can fire it, but it's just not very fast. Another thing I'll do is I'll have two darts and drop one in and kind of ramrod it with the first. But doing this repeatedly just beats up the foam on my darts as I'm using them to ramrod one another, and it just doesn't really work. So I needed to figure out a way around all of that, which is what led me to the newest Hammershot, which is this one here. And it has a feature to help me ramrod the darts quickly. This feature does, however, stop me from using most full-length darts except for the Zero X-Shot darts. But let me go ahead and crack this open, so I'll show you what I did inside. Okay, so starting with the cylinder, it is stock. I just removed the pegs, sanded and filed down the rough bits. The gasket on this was actually pretty good. A lot of the Hammershots I get are thrifted and they're older, and the gasket is made out of a different type of foam. This is an EVA foam, and it seems to be just fine. I did put a worker upgrade spring in it with a 3mm spacer that I made. Did not buy that. And then I also removed the air restrictor, and I filled in all the dead space using EVA foam. And I also padded the plunger head with EVA foam. But that's pretty much it for the internals. The only other thing that I really did was I added some BBs, 8 in each side, to balance the blaster because it came a bit front heavy. And this piece here that I have on the front is from two things. The actual front was removed from a sling fire, and the actual little shell bits to fill in on the side were cut from part of a negotiator. And the strips here were also cut from a negotiator. The end cap I just made out of random stuff that I had around. As far as cosmetically, the blaster's not 100% done. There's something I want to put in here on each side and then fill around it. I just haven't done that yet, but I want to do the video. Go ahead and put this back together. Okay, so this here is what actually makes this kind of functional, and I based this off of when I was just thinking about ejecting shells from an actual revolver, is that I can quickly rotate and ram the darts home. So what I mean is, Once I put my darts in, and it's spring loaded, and now they're all ramrodded and ready to fire. However, now that I have done that, I can't actually clear any full-length darts because generally they will hit this tip, which I don't care about because this is meant for half lengths. I basically wanted something I could put in a holster and wield one-handed as I use my left hand to refill my empty Talon magazines with half darts. So kind of a companion to use with my Nexus Pro one-handed. I would like to add this onto other blasters like the Magnum, the Blitzfire, etc., just to make it a lot quicker and easier to ramrod all those half darts home. But how I made this was I took a couple of discarded springs that were the same size, and I just happened to have those from various blasters I've thrifted and torn apart, a piece of tubing, and then a flat piece of plastic that I drilled a hole into so that this could slide in and out of it. And I just cut a groove so that whenever this flips over, it locks into place. This is basically just a Bic pen, if that makes sense, and scrap plastic. But the actual metal piece is part of a priming rod from an Alpha Trooper or something like that I had taken out. And the steel is really high quality. It was quite hard to cut. It's almost like hardened tool steel, which I was impressed. I did not expect that. So, in order for me to replicate this realistically, I need to figure out a way to make this without having to use all these scavenged parts, because I can't just make a bunch of them like that. So that's kind of the drawback to it, but I'm hoping somebody may watch this and figure out some sort of 3D printed alternative, or maybe an option for a hardware alternative for this, because this is really fun and works pretty well. So, enough talking. Let's go ahead and load this up with some different half darts and fire it off, see how it does, have some fun. Okay, I'm going to be aiming for that box down there, in particular the center of it. And the first thing I'm going to start off with is some Worker Gen 2 half lengths. And let's see how they operate. Well, not the best, but they're not the Dart Zone Pro half-lengths. Now I'm going to do some Gen 3 Worker half-length darts. Oh, well, these already fit more snug as I'm placing them into the barrel than any of the Gen 2s did, but they could also have been a bit worn out. And those definitely did go straighter, although they still didn't fly the best. Now I'm going to do some of the cut down Adventure Force waffle head darts. Well, they all actually shot straighter and higher than either of the Gen 2 workers, and I did have one direct hit, but I also did the workers in the Gen 2 and Gen 3 as well. Let's do some pro darts now. Okay, try some Adventure Force Pro half-length darts. I think those work quite good. They're much more consistent than the worker darts or the half-length waffles that I cut down. Oh yeah. Way better performance. That one went low. You know what? I'm going to do 5 more. Still, I feel like from all of them that has the most power. So whenever I move on to doing some chronograph tests, I'm going to go ahead and test it with the Adventure Force Pro Darts, because I have a feeling that's going to yield the highest numbers. I'm also going to shoot some waffle heads as a control against that. Okay, I've removed the box, and one last test. I've got 5 Adventure Force Pro Darts, and I'm going to aim for Bob's face, just like I did with the Nexus Pro, at 50 feet here, and let's see if I can hit it. Oh, I hit the skulls. A little low. Still a little low. Oh, there's a face shot. Ah, hit the skulls again. Since I actually have to angle and arc this blaster, unlike the Nexus Pro, I end up hitting the skulls instead of Bob, unfortunately. Okay, so that's 5. The 5th one was 80. Let's go over and take a look at the numbers. So I got 80, 103, which is pretty good, 89, 74.8 is the lowest, and 80.9. So if you throw out the lowest and the highest, you're getting between 80 and 90 average. But being able to peak this at 103 is pretty cool. I also know this isn't the most accurate chronograph in the world, but let's go ahead and try some waffle heads next. Okay, so all these shots were between 79 and 83. So I didn't get any high peak ones like the 101, but it did come out pretty good. Okay, so overall I am relatively pleased with this. Like I say, it's fun just to ramrod these in with this. It kind of feels like that element of play like with the Ultra 2, where you flip down and put the darts into the rear of the cylinder. It kind of gives you that, you know, cowboy feel, and same thing with this. You would have a pusher to eject spent shells from your revolver, or if you had a black powder revolver, you'd be using it to pack down your powder load wad and your projectile. But yeah, it just has a lot of fun elements to it, and I'm super psyched with the fact that I can shoot the waffle heads and the pro darts. I think part of the reason that the waffle heads work in this and don't work in a lot of front load or barrel system blasters is that the stock barrels on the Hammershot are only tight at the bottom here, and they kind of flare out towards the top. So even though you have that wider waffle head, like, it doesn't get jammed or slowed down or whirly bird or come out funny. And this also, shooting between like 80 and 90 FPS, isn't shooting hard enough to really cause those waffle heads to tumble like with other high-powered springers. Whenever I front load in a half-length waffle, they just don't work as well as this. But the fact that I can shoot both out of this is awesome. Then I can take it with my Nexus Pro and have something that can fire the half darts just fine. And I probably won't use this as a dedicated secondary. I think I would probably use like a Spam for an Aeon Pro or something for a secondary, but I think this would be a great tertiary, like, last resort backup blaster. Or just depending on the situation, maybe I just need to have one hand free, or who knows what, or I want to aim around a corner and fire really quick without having to really expose myself and have two hands to prime it and all that stuff. I don't know, but it was a lot of fun, and I feel like it works pretty well. Okay, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. Had a lot of fun making this, and it's a lot of fun to use, which is why I made the video, and hopefully give some people some ideas. Maybe not to do the same thing, but just a way to quickly ramrod your half darts. The next video, I'm probably actually just going to do a test video where I fire the Nexus Pro half-length darts through every single blaster I have that will take them, which is quite a few, and pretty much all of them are modified. My Magnum, my Blitzfire, various Hammershots, Hammerstorm, my Sledgefire, etc., etc., and see how well they work. I also have a bunch of shotgun pistols and shotguns to test them on too, including some that shoot two full-length darts at once. So my curiosity is, can I shoot 4 half-lengths? And if I can, do I have to do different brands, i.e. a tighter fitting brand at the base and a looser one at top? I don't know. But that's kind of what I want to get into and check out and play around with. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.